Good morning. I hope you're enjoying the food. By the way, I want to say what I said 2 days ago. All the chairs that you see in here, there is no splash zone. This is not SeaWorld. There's not going to be a whale that's going to get you wet. So by all means, feel free to come and join us at the front. The view is better. The hearing is better. Today, I'm here with my, again, colleague and friend, Nicole Kohlhammer, from the sales engineering team. My name is Carlos Aragon. I run the product marketing team for applications, for contact center and unified communication. The topic we're going to be covering today is bring your own channel for contact center as a service. That is an announcement that was made yesterday. Salesforce announced this new framework to be able to bring your vendors' digital channels. So before yesterday, if you wanted to have digital channels on Salesforce, you had two ways. One is buy the digital channel package from Salesforce directly, which has certain limitations, and it's basically a one-size-fits-all solution that doesn't fit many customers. Or you could integrate over-the-top channels with their own over-the-top tools that were not really integrated into Service Cloud Voice. Well, now that changes with this kind of standardized framework that allows you to bring those channels. We're going to cover that in detail, but what we're going to do is go over the challenges in the contact center and how bring your own channel can help on those challenges, explain what it is and which components it has, how it helps the business, what are the core features, and of course the core benefits that it brings. We're going to be talking about routing and capacity options because this is the main game changer. When you bring those channels from the vendor, it affects the ability to have a single capacity and routing model. Why Vonage for this? Why not others? Hopefully you're going to choose us. And then obviously what's next, and we're going to open it up to Q&A. So we're going to start with the first slide. I'm going to pass the torch to Nicole.
All right, good morning, everybody. So the current situation, why bring your own channel for CCaaS? Why Omni? So we see this with a lot of our prospects, our customers, and even us as consumers probably have had the experience where agents and companies, they have many solutions to solve their customers' problems. So perhaps they have one vendor for voice. They might have another for messaging, another for collaboration, another for their phone system. It really goes on and on and on, and this makes it really difficult to get a job done, right? And then on top of that, how do they integrate into their CRM? Do they have multiple CRMs? So for each one of those solutions, they may integrate into their Salesforce a different way. So adding more complexity to a complex situation already. Having all of these vendors and all of these different solutions, what does that do to your data, right? So now you have to find your data in different sources, and maybe they even see and measure things differently. So making it very, very difficult to get jobs done, to learn where you have coaching opportunities, and to become more efficient as an organization.
So these sort of challenges, of course, create opportunities. One thing that I've heard when I've been talking to analysts is that only 20% of the cost of a contact center is actually the technology. Everything else is mostly related to the agents. It's related to not obviously paying for their salary, but the huge effort of hiring an agent takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. Hiring the right one, if you make a mistake and you have to let them go and hire a new one, that's a wasted effort. But also the attrition when your agents leave because they're not happy because their situation of using the tools that they have is complex. They're not fulfilled because they do a lot of repetitive tasks. So there is these three kind of pillars here of challenges. The first one is rising customer expectations. Of course, as consumers, especially since the pandemic, we embrace digital channels. We've learned how to use chat and SMS and WhatsApp and other channels to talk to companies. We actually started using it with our own friends and family to keep in touch, but every single piece of technology you use in your personal life eventually makes it to the business world. The problem is that we have become very impatient, let's just say. We're not very tolerant to not having the right answer fast, not getting to the right agent fast. And sometimes the agents don't have all the answers either, and finding those available experts is difficult. Well, the opportunity here is for those businesses that can focus on providing experience-led customer engagements or customer interactions. The second one is team inefficiencies that are affecting that customer experience. You know, you have the swivel sharing that we were talking about when you have channel, and then you have to have another tool, another UI, another window that pops up. That complicates things because you're going to also have to train those new agents on how to use that extra tool versus the ability to have just one single common interface on Service Cloud Voice where you just run everything. So the opportunity here is to increase the productivity across the organization when you have all those well-connected tools. And then the third one is the complication in the IT world, how integration of tools makes it more complicated, how to combine those legacy unified communication solutions with your contact center to be able to do a proper engagement with your subject matter experts. And when you have to deal with multiple vendors, multiple management system, multiple training systems, it drains the IT resources. Even for things that are super important these days, which is compliance and security, then you have to make sure that you have those things applied to different systems. It quickly becomes too complicated. What's the opportunity here? Well, the opportunity is if you become a customer-centric organization in every single aspect, including IT operations. So
here's the balance, right? You want to get things done. The quantity is important. We want to resolve our cases, convert our opportunities. But how do we balance that with the quality, right? So we have a statistic, 68% of agents said it's very difficult for them to balance speed and quality. So as they're trying to become more efficient, are we seeing the impact on our customer satisfaction scores, our net promoter scores? We are, right? So how do we have that balance? How do we create that balance? We give them the right tools to help them get their job done. So the solution, bring your own channel for CCaaS. We're able to connect all of these channels into a single agent interface. So no longer are they having to toggle between messaging in one application, voice in another, digging information out of their CRM just to solve a maybe simple customer inquiry. When you have everything available in a single tool, it makes it easy to onboard your agents. It makes it easy to enable your agents to become more productive. To help them become more productive, we can start to layer in different tools like AI. So not only on your voice channel can you give them tools like Agent Assist, maybe suggesting next best action or surfacing knowledge-based articles, but we can do those across digital channels as well, which really empowers your workforce.
So what is bring your own channel from a technology point of view or from an architectural point of view? Bring your own channel is really a Salesforce framework. It's a series of connectors and processes that allow the vendors of contact center solutions to integrate those digital channels into the Service Cloud Voice. At the end of the day, what bring your own channel becomes, and we're pretty sure Salesforce is going to come up with a more attractive name for this, it's basically going to be the future of Service Cloud Voice, that unified single pane of glass, that unified single agent experience where you're going to have both your voice integrated into Service Cloud and your digital channels to be able to provide this customer 360 view. The main components of this integrated solution include Service Cloud Voice, of course, because that's kind of the core of the contact center functionality. Voice is going to stay here for a while, hopefully forever. That's the part that provides that kind of core capabilities, and the product that Vonage would provide for this is Vonage Premier for Service Cloud Voice, which has this bring your own telephony capabilities to have the audio, the calls into Service Cloud. The second component is the bring your own channel piece, the ability to integrate those digital channels. Those are going to be part of the Vonage Premier for Service Cloud Voice option too, but they're built using the Vonage APIs. Our rich CPaaS platform that provides those channels, the initial ones that are coming now, that are available for pilot today, are SMS, web chat, and WhatsApp, which, by the way, is a channel that Salesforce doesn't support today, as far as I know. The third component is the routing and capacity management. And we're going to be that in more detail. Nicole is going to talk to us about that later. But it's about being able to have a single routing and a single capacity model for the interactions, no matter where they come from, so that you can optimize the use of your agents, make sure you don't overwhelm them, make sure they don't get upset and they don't leave your business because they're not happy. And of course, happy agents, we know, means happy customers every single time. And then the last component is the workforce engagement management. This is the part about handling those schedules, handling the interactions of your agents. And for this one, we use partnerships with Verint or Calabrio or Injixo to provide the solution that is best in breed and that provides the best fit between costs and capabilities or functionality that our customers need. So how is this bring your own channel for CCaaS different from the previous channel integrations? Kind of hinted a couple of things in there, but basically in the previous channel integrations model, yes, you could integrate other channels with Service Cloud Voice, but it would have to be through a widget or some tool that the vendor of the channel provided. Every time one of those interactions enter Service Cloud Voice, you would get a pop-up with another window normally created by that vendor, where you would interact with the customer, whether it's a chat window or a messaging window. And then at the end of that interaction, if you were lucky, that information would be pushed into Salesforce for storage and for archival. Those channels running on dedicated UIs now are going to be in a single UI, completely transparent, meaning that if you have your agents using Service Cloud Voice, if they have used Service Cloud Voice before, or they have used the Service Cloud interface, no matter with which vendor, no matter who provided those channels, they're now going to be able to use your solution, again, no matter which is the vendor behind it, because the look and feel is always going to be identical regardless of the vendor you have behind. The other thing that's going to change is adding emerging channels, which today takes a long time because you have to source another vendor, you have to kind of implement it, integrate it. With Bring Your Own Channel for Service Cloud Voice, if your contact center vendor introduces a new channel, it just appears there. Like I've been talking all week about RCS because it's a big deal that since Monday with iOS 18 being released, now iPhones support the RCS standard, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with RCS, but RCS is basically the multimedia evolution of SMS. It's that was supposed to be MMS, by the way, but it kind of failed big time because of the many restrictions it has. With RCS, basically you can do almost everything you can do with iMessage today between iPhones and Androids. You can no longer have to limit your ability. For business, it makes a big deal because RCS also includes the RCS Business Messaging Standard that's been defined by the GSMA Association, and that channel allows you now to authenticate a brand, to see the logo of the brand, to see that identity, so that when you're interacting with a business, you know it's who they're claiming to be and not somebody impersonating them. And there's also strict regulations about spam and the ability for you to block a business so that they don't bother you. So you no longer have to ask them to block you. You can just go into your messaging client and say, stop. And you don't get any more messages for them. So being able to add that channel for us, since we now have released it in our API platform, it's just going to be a matter of a couple of months, and it'll be integrated, tested, validated, and available. Any new channel you can think of in any other country. But all of the other things related to managing AI, integrating with insights, that before couldn't be done because all of these channels were independent, were running on their own vendor tools. Now they're part of the single model. They can be integrated. The common agent capacity model, there was no common agent capacity model before. Now you have it. And finally, anything that comes to analytics, now fully integrated. You had different billing and pricing before. Now it's going to be all blended into the same contact center pricing that you have. And then the agent configurations were different. You had different tools. You had to go to one vendor, another vendor, and then configure the agents to support those channels. Now you just run everything through the common contact center administration interface.
So why? How does Bring Your Own Channel for CCaaS help businesses? Because at the end of the day, if this doesn't help businesses, then why are they doing it?
So we're going to run about a couple of use cases here, or different scenarios of how Bring Your Own CCaaS can affect businesses. So the first scenario is how to improve the agent efficiency. And if you think of a business, for example, like a broadband provider, let's say, or maybe an insurance company, that they're struggling with the fragmented customer service, they're using multiple tools for multiple channels. What we do is we go and implement for them this single desktop UI, this single desktop user experience for their agents, for all the channels. We implement one knowledge base because now all the channels feed from the same knowledge base, no matter whether they're voice or text based. And then we have a single AI recommendation engine. That translates into now you don't have to do multiple trainings for multiple tools. You onboard new agents, you train them once. That training goes for all the channels. You no longer have seat swiveling or swiveling chairs when you have to switch from one app to the other. It's all in the Service Cloud Voice UI. Your agents are more engaged. They do things much faster. They have less frustration, less friction. And again, happy agents equals happy customers. And then, of course, this all translates in improving the handling time. And and the first contact resolution, of course, but the handling time is most important because all of that friction of having to use multiple tools gets reduced. And then at the end of the interaction, you can leverage those summarization capabilities to be able to wrap the call faster or wrap the interaction faster and move on to the next one. If we go to the next one, another use case example would be the 360-degree customer view. And that's going to be you.
So the 360-degree customer viewer journey. So this goes back to what we were talking about earlier. When we have different channels supported by different vendors or different solutions, it makes it really difficult for an agent to understand that customer 360. So have they called in before? Have they messaged in before? What are they looking to purchase? What problems are they looking to solve? So imagine retail, right? Somebody goes on a website, then they call in and ask about a product. They don't decide to purchase it, but maybe a couple days later they message back in. And lo and behold, they have to start the whole process from the beginning. The agent has no idea that there was a conversation days ago, fragmented, and at the end of the day, not creating a great experience and likely impacting that ability to convert that sale. So when we have all of that information consolidated into a single system, think about how we can enable our agents. We have a better understanding of why that customer is calling in, even before we pick up that call. We can personalize the experience. We already know what they're going to be asking about. We already know what we've talked about before. We have their feedback already. And we know how they like to be reached, right? So maybe this customer prefers voice over chat. We can reach back out to them on the channel of their choice. So how do we do all of this? Bring your own channel for CCaaS, right? So we're going to be removing those silos. As Carlos talked about earlier, adding in channels, it's like flipping a switch, right? We can treat all channels equally, and we can enable that agent to give the customers a more holistic experience.
Yeah, and this trend of breaking the silos is super important because we keep finding them in different use cases, different scenarios. When we look at making operations more efficient, it's the same situation. Here, we're looking at, let's say, for example, a bank, or basically any company you can think that have multiple departments that have different skills. All of them interact with customers, but in a different way. So if you look at a bank, for example, you're going to have multiple silos. Again, you're going to have the mortgage department. You're going to have maybe the personal loans department, the car loans department, the investment side of the house. All of them are going to have different knowledge, different abilities. But they're also going to have maybe different channels. Sometimes you go to open a mortgage and they only answer the phone. Sometimes you're trying to just get a personal loan and they only do it through chat, but mostly will also offer the phone. But you get my point. Sometimes it's not even consistent across the different departments with channels they have available. By bringing them with Bring Your Own CCaaS today, you help to break those silos because now you can have, first of all, the knowledge base available to every single agent. Meaning, since you're going to get next best recommendations, you're going to get knowledge-based suggestions, you can now have the same pool of agents serving all the products. They don't have to have all the knowledge. The system is going to push the information directly to them. If somebody's asking what is the interest rate that you can offer me today, they don't need to know that. The AI is going to just surface the article or the latest page, internal page where that information is available. That's going to help you first get the resolution faster because you're not going to have to route the call to several different departments. You're going to help with that average handling time. And you're going to also increase the efficiency of your training and onboarding of new agents because, again, all of that information is going to be centralized.
All right, the last one, analytics. So let's maybe use healthcare as an example. We can imagine a healthcare company and they're juggling all sorts of interactions. They have phone calls, chats, emails, maybe even social media. And each one has their own team that staff is. They have data silos, different metrics, KPIs are all over the place. And what does that lead to? It's inconsistent reporting. How do they track your customer satisfaction when we're pulling data from different places and it means different things? So it's making it difficult for agents to even understand, are they doing their job? Are they doing a good job? Where are their training opportunities? How do their supervisors, their managers know where to focus? So when we have a single source of truth for all of these channels, it makes it much easier for leadership to lean into their staff, to create a better experience for them so that they can enable them to solve their customer problems.
So these are just a few of the examples of use cases. There's many more we can think of. If you have any particular one, by the way, we'd be happy to listen to that and suggest how Bring Your Own Channel can help you there. But let's talk about the core features now. So there is core features for agents. For example, the most important one, as we mentioned before, the single UI on the Salesforce UI, easier to keep the agents engaged, easier to onboard the agents and train them. It's 100% native to Salesforce, so it kind of breaks those frictions. The second is the common agent capacity model. This ability to use our existing Salesforce routing capabilities and our existing capacity model, now adding the digital channels, allows you to, let's say, not squeeze your agents to their maximum capacity, but basically make sure that they are always at optimal utilization, but never overload, never over their neck. And making sure that you assign the resources appropriately so that you don't have, if you have 20 agents, they're not each and every one of them handling one chat conversation, and then when you get a voice call, nobody's ready to assist. You want to start distributing those conversations to more people because they can handle more, and maybe have 5 or 10 of those agents doing handling those incoming chats so that when one voice call comes in, they can handle it. The third one is the integration and collaboration with either VVC for the unified communication part, or if the organization has Microsoft Teams. Yesterday we did a presentation with Enders and Hauser, one of our customers, and one of the key decision factors for them to go with Vonage is because of how easy and effective our integration with Microsoft Teams was. That's important because many times the agents are going to have to reach out to an expert. And finding that expert is normally not in the contact center, but outside in the unified communication system. Being able to have that contact synchronization, that presence synchronization, so that you can see who's available and who can jump and help the customer is critical. The next part would be, what are the core benefits for admins and for supervisors? And there is several options here. The first one is the intelligent IVR or advanced call distribution. The ability to now have the same models for both the digital channels and the voice channels. So you can build the same kind of, and I hate to say IVR or intelligent IVR because every time you mention IVR, people in their mind, it goes like, press 1 for sales, press 2 for marketing. Para español, pulse 4. And people don't like that experience. Here we're talking about something that when you connect, greets you in your language, asks you what you want to do, and then depending on whether, if you're having a spike of traffic in your contact center, offers you the option to start the interaction on a text channel and be able to handle that. For the admins and supervisors, they also get the ability to see what's going on in that IVR. They get the ability to jump in there in those digital channels, help and coach their agents to get the best experience to the customer. The workforce management capabilities, again, now you have those digital channels as part of that unified workforce management model, so you can properly manage, forecast the capacity of your agents, how many people you need to staff at a certain amount of time to make sure you can handle not just the volume of calls, but not the volume of chats or the volume of engagements on digital channels. And then the ability to have this omni supervisor to be able to manage your entire contact center, be able to view all the channels from a single place, from a single admin interface, and be able to measure all of the KPIs you need to report to your management on the performance and cost of your contact center in a unified way. And that obviously leverages the integration with our Vonage AI Studio for the intelligent IVRs, or conversational insights to get all of those supervisor KPIs. And then also integrated into Salesforce Einstein AI so that you can do this entire end-to-end journey, which, by the way, we're going to see in a couple of slides.
So the contact center management, what are the core features that we're going to be showcasing or talking through for them? First is enhancing Service Cloud Voice. Service Cloud Voice can be expensive, right? Not just on a per month basis, but for setup. So we want to get the most out of it. We want to get the maximum result from our Service Cloud Voice deployment. Next is omni-channel. So Carlos mentioned this before, new digital channels constantly. We have to meet our consumers or our customers where they want to be met. So the ability to integrate new digital channels easily is paramount, right? We need that flexibility and the ability to scale up when our customers need us to. VCC Insights, or our contact center insights. We want the ability to access metrics easily, and we want it to be consistent. Right? So having the same KPIs or data that we're measuring across digital channels and your voice channels is very important and oftentimes overlooked, right? So when we have all of these options for your contact center management, it goes back to creating a better experience for the employees. We don't want to just think about our agents. You need to think about everyone that helps to enable that contact center.
So the other value of bring your own channel for contact center as a service, we kind of hinted it before too, is the whole AI end-to-end journey, the ability to now have AI. What we want to highlight in here is that that AI journey doesn't necessarily have to be entirely Vonage driven or entirely Salesforce driven, that you can actually mix and match different AI technologies in different parts of the journey while still providing a full end-to-end AI journey. The key point here is that Vonage AI and Salesforce AI are fully complementary. They help each other in the different stages. So here's an example of a customer journey. We have our customer, Alex. This person is, and I'm not going to say he because Alex can also be a girl's name.
Yes.
So Alex, let's say it's a girl. Alex wants to interact with a company, a business. And she may choose one of the multiple channels. It may be voice, it may be WhatsApp Messenger, it may be SMS, whatever it is. When they start engaging with the company, the first entry is normally going to be self-service, try and collect the information from the customer. That's something you don't really need an agent, a human agent to do. With our AI Studio tools, you can talk to the customer, get what they want to do, collect the information you need from them, even authenticate them first, and then decide if you can fulfill that answer directly from the AI Studio tools, from the virtual agent, or you need to escalate that into a customer, into an agent. In this example, we're going to do that. But the point in here is that while you're doing all of that self-service, it's Vonage AI that is interacting with the customer. It's collecting all the information. It may be answering from a knowledge base, from an FAQ list. It may be also kind of tapping into the CRM data to make decisions on how to handle the call and who to send it to. But at the end of the day, you can also supervise that interaction in real time, and you can also push the result of that interaction before you transfer it to the agent into the conversation analytics that you're going to use later in the game. Now, the AI can decide that it's time to involve a human agent. The session gets transferred to the human agent, whether it's a voice session or a chat session. The human agent takes over now, and that's where Salesforce AI kicks in here with the knowledge-based management, the next best actions provided by Einstein, the sentiment analysis, all of the tools that Salesforce can provide within Service Cloud Voice. By the way, at the same time, Vonage AI is still doing the real-time transcription and feeding it into Service Cloud Voice. And of course, you can then combine there the workforce management capabilities of one of our vendors, one of our partner vendors, Verint, Calabrio, or Injixo. All of that interaction happens with the agent. All of that information, again, is also collected into the conversation analyzer. So at the end of the interaction, you have a third level of AI interactions that happen with Vonage Conversational Insights that process all that information to give you that customer 360 view, those KPIs, those insights. And then that information gets pushed into Einstein 1 to be stored into a single searchable place where you can then, as an administrator, ask for reports, ask for insights, and get the full view of the performance of your contact center. All of these different AI tools are working together to deliver the value that your business needs. And okay, I thought there was an animation there. So this is the other important part. Let's talk about the routing and capacity options. Before we go into that, let's just kind of summarize what's going to happen now with Bring Your Own Channel for CCaaS. So the main change here is that now Vonage becomes the orchestration engine behind all of these channels, voice and digital, and Salesforce now becomes the single agent experience. So basically, you're not going to see Vonage in the UI when you're an agent, but we're going to be behind the scenes making everything happen smoothly, right?
Yep. And that's the goal, right? We want to keep things simple on the agent side and also on the management side. So the benefits of an omni-channel solution when it comes to customer service. Mentioned this earlier, but we as consumers, we know that we want to be met on the channel of our choice. We have high standards and the bar is constantly rising. So when we have an omni-channel solution, we can provide that type of experience for our customers. We get better insights, right? So we have all of this data now, we have the ability to action on it. We increase our efficiency. So earlier we talked about that balance between quantity and quality. So this is key. We don't want to just close more tickets. We want to close tickets in a way that gets us good customer satisfaction scores, that creates and retains our customers. Cost savings, right? So limiting your vendors, limiting your internal resources needed to manage these different vendors, it's going to be a benefit internally on your operations as well. And you're differentiating yourself. I know me, if I have a bad customer experience, it's easy for me just to go on Google and find a different company that can meet my needs and create a different experience, right? So you have to be really aware of the experiences that you're creating for your customers, because chances are if you're not creating a good one, you're not going to have that customer come back again. So routing versus capacity, why does it matter? There's an analogy someone mentioned to me the other day. I thought it was kind of clever for this. It's about parking lots. So you can put in Google Maps, find me a parking lot. I'll drive all the way there. And then if there are no spots, it can be pretty frustrating, right? So the routing is what gets me to the parking lot. Capacity is the ability for us to say if there are spots open or not. So when we think about this for a contact center, sure, I can route a call to Carlos, but if Carlos is already on 3 chats, 1 email, and he's got an SMS coming in, is he likely the best agent to take that call? Probably not, right? So if you don't have that combination in your contact center and you don't have that logic built out in the back end, really, we're not creating a good experience for our agents and certainly not for our customers.
So the key point here is to highlight how to find that optimal load, that optimum capacity for your agents. And here we're going to do a little bit of role play. The ability that we provide in our capacity model is that you can assign percentages to each interaction. So for example, we assume live interactions, voice, are going to require 100% of the agent's attention time, because normally we can handle only 1 call at a time. But you could maybe change that to be, let's say, 51%, so that you always give priority to voice. But that person, while they're handling a voice call, they could also be doing some non-real time, like handling maybe an email or maybe a semi-real time interaction by handling a chat. You set in your agent's profile what is their optimal load. Maybe some newbie that you just onboarded to the platform, you're going to say their capacity is going to be maybe 60%. And you never want to put tasks on them that exceeds that capacity. You do get agent capacity dashboard that's going to allow you to see all of your agents and where they are at utilization. And we also have the ability to have our contact center notify Salesforce of that capacity so that it gets reflected in the Omni-Channel Supervisor dashboards.
All right, so let's look at some math, right? I feel like I'm helping my son with his math homework right now. It's putting a puzzle together. So Carlos talked about this earlier. If we have 1 agent and their capacity level is 100%, they can only take 1 call, right? So we see that in the top one, the live interaction is 100%. If we have semi-live interactions, these are things like chat or web chat or SMS. We can start to do more, right? So maybe we have a balance. We can do 3 semi-live interactions at the same time. Now, what about non-live interactions? So we see this as like an email to case typically, or maybe a web form. Non-live, well, we can balance even more. So we're going to go down to 25% to that. And you can see now as we start getting lower, now we can diversify what an agent is working with. So now they can balance 1 semi-live interaction with a couple non-live interactions. Or maybe it's a call for these more tenured agents. We want to have a call that is up to 51%, and then we can start sacking these web forms or these emails to cases on top of it. So you can see here, it does seem like it can get complex, but for every customer, this is going to be different, right? And within each contact center, it might even be different too. Carlos talked about the tenure of an agent, and that's especially important. So you may, in those situations, you're going to see it trending towards the top. A call is 100%. We want them totally focused on the call. As your agents get more experience, we can start to balance more.
Yeah, we're going to show you a little bit of an example in here, because when you assign that load, when you're starting to provide the load to your agents, it's important how you do that. So in this example here, we have 4 agents in a contact center. All of them are available. All of them are starting at 0% capacity. So if you click for me, now you're going to see that 3 chats come in. In a round-robin mechanism, what the contact center would do is it would give 1 chat to each of those agents. So we would get agent 1, agent 2, and agent 3 with 1 chat each. What we're doing here is we start giving the chats to agent 1, and because that agent can actually handle 3 chats, because the chats have been giving a 33% capacity factor, This agent one is now at optimum capacity, and we still have 3 agents available. So if we are unlucky and suddenly 3 voice calls come in, we can handle them. But now what happens is that instead of 3 voice calls, we got 2 chats and an email coming into the queue. And what we did is the same thing. We assigned them to agent 2. That agent is at 91% capacity because email has a little bit of a lower capacity factor than live chats. But we still have 2 agents available to handle voice calls. Now in the next round, what happens is we get 2 voice calls coming in. In a previous round robin mechanism, all of our agents would have been occupied because we would have given 1 chat to each agent. The 4th chat would have gone to the 4th agent, and then the 5th chat would go to agent 1 and the email to agent 2. Nobody would be able to handle a voice call. But with the management of the capacity model, now we had 2 agents ready to take that voice call. That's why it's important to have this vision, not just on the voice, but also on the digital channels, to make sure you're always utilizing your agents at the optimum capacity, but never overloading them.
So why Vonage? We'll start with a couple of the key reasons that our customers tell us for why they chose Vonage and they continue to stay with Vonage as their provider. Single billing, right? So it's easier to manage when you have one vendor that you work with for your unified communications and your contact center. You don't have a digital channel provider, a voice channel provider, and a UC provider. You have one place. We like to say one back to pact. Global coverage. This is also another key reason our customers choose Vonage. We have global reach. We have data centers in multiple geographies. So not only can we provide services in those countries, we can provide good service in those countries, good call quality, low latency, giving customers a good experience. App exchange, right? So don't just listen to Carlos and I, Vonage has us on the stage, so of course we're gonna tell you Vonage is the best, right? But listen to what our customers say. We have thousands of reviews in the App Exchange from our customers, 4.92 out of 5 rating. It is the top contact center provider in the App Exchange. So listen to what our customers say.
By the way, important thing there, that 4.92 over 5 rating is with thousands of reviews.
Yep.
Thousands. No, this is not just a couple of people we paid in a contact center in Bangladesh to fill those reviews for us. It's actual customers that are happy with us. And we had some analysts tell us that they've talked to some of our references when we do those qualifications for the Gartner Magic Quadrants, those Forrester research. They've talked to our customers, and our customers love us because of the personal engagement we do with them.
Yep. Usage-based pricing for all channels. So sometimes customers have peaks, right? Holiday season, retail, we're gonna see a lot on these channels, but maybe not so much January and February. So having a usage-based pricing model makes it easy, makes it scalable, and makes it cost-effective. 15 years of interaction routing experience. So we've been doing this for a long time. Our contact center was built for Salesforce 15 years ago. Our internal teams are trained on it, experts really. Leader in Gartner Magic Quadrant for CPaaS. So these digital channels, they're being powered by our API platform, which is in the Gartner Magic Quadrant. And we've talked about this again and again and again, but the depth of the data and insights about calls is critical. I mean, you hear it all week at Dreamforce, Data Cloud. Without good data, good clean data, the AI is really ineffective. So having good data is really key to make all of this happen.
One important thing, Nicole, to highlight when you talk about the 15 years of interaction routing experience, a lot of people may think, well, that means you guys are great at rinse and repeat, right? That's not what it means. What it means is that if you come to us with a challenge that you're finding, there's a very high chance that we find that before with other customers, and we're going to have an answer to how to address it, whether with a direct fix or with a workaround that's going to get you to work on that while we kind of implement the final solution.
Yeah, that's a great point.
That experience is super important.
Yeah, very good point.
Okay, so that's all for the content presentation. Now we have a question for you. Who wants to be a pilot customer? Who wants to try this? Because we basically, when we made the announcement yesterday, we made it available for pilot. So if anybody in the room or anybody you know that has a Service Cloud Voice implementation would like to try this with Vonage, we can set up a proof of concept with them, we can integrate with them, they can play with it, and then if they like it, they can buy it. If you already have a Vonage implementation and you just want to try the bring your own channel component, same thing, talk to us, we set up a proof of concept, you can try it. Our sales engineers are ready to help you, our salespeople are ready to get you on board. Talk to your regular sales representative or your point of contacts within Vonage, and we'll be happy to entertain you. But if you're not there yet and you still want to know a little bit more, fine. Our colleagues over there, our sales engineers over there, can give you a demo, show you how it works, show you how easy it is, how this blended experience directly within Service Cloud Voice works, and then you can take it from there. If you want to know more, we'll be happy to schedule a meeting and follow up with you. And that's about it.
Yeah.
Now it's your time to talk. Does anybody have any questions? Any things they'd like to clarify? Any concerns? Any, you guys got this all wrong, this is never going to work? We also want to hear that. Hopefully not, but, but if that's what you think, we'd like to hear it and hopefully prove you wrong. Anything? There is a question over here. Just a second, they're bringing you a microphone.
Maybe it's a technical question. But the BYOC here, the digital channels, assumes Salesforce digital channels, right? That we've implemented in Salesforce that we can bring to Vonage for routing and capacity management. But does Vonage actually helping us bring other digital channels, or do we have to do that ourselves? I'm thinking WeChat specifically.
Okay, note to ourselves, if after the presentation what they got is that the channels are provided by Salesforce, we did a bad job, because it's actually quite the opposite. What this bring your own channel for CCaaS brings is the ability for the vendor, Vonage, to bring our own channels into Salesforce. Up until today, you had to buy the package from Salesforce, their digital channel package, which is good, but it's a one-size-fits-all, generalistic, and it doesn't fit other people. So yes, in the area, the first launch that we're doing now, we're supporting SMS, WhatsApp, and web chat that is coming, it's in beta right now. The next stage, we're going to be adding email, and WeChat could be a channel that we would support if there is an interest, because we know we support that in our Jumper solution, in our conversational commerce solution, which is based on the same APIs. Right now, it's a matter of prioritization, because we just have to bring those CPaaS APIs we have into the contact center experience and do that integration. But if there is an opportunity, yeah, we'll entertain WeChat. If there is an opportunity in Korea and they need to have KakaoTalk, or somebody in Japan needs Viber, that's the thing. We have all of those APIs in our CPaaS. We can bring them into the contact center when we need to. Yes.
Yep. So you have to think, when Service Cloud Voice first came out, maybe you're familiar with BYOT, right? So the ability to bring in those telephony partners that Salesforce opened up. There's the BYOT SKU. BYOC for CCaaS, it's a mouthful, is the next step, right? So now they're not just limited to bringing in telephony channels, they can bring in the digital channels as well.
But thanks for the feedback, because we need to make it more obvious when we do this presentation that it's our channels, not the Salesforce channels. So it's definitely our channels. That's where at the moment we're starting with just a few of them, because this new framework has just been launched. In fact, for Salesforce, it's not even GA until a couple of months from now.
October, yeah.
Yeah, in October. The dashboards are, the sandboxes are ready for us to start working with the customers for those pilots. But we're going to start implementing those channels as fast as we can. And of course, adding the value based on our customers' needs. So again, if WeChat is the one, sure, let's go for it. It's not in the immediate roadmap. The issue with this one is this has been actually a very fast development. We started discussion with Salesforce around June, July. We produced this in like 3 months. So we're still defining the long-term roadmap for which channels we're going to bring in here. But again, it's not like we have to build them. They're in our API platform already. In our Jumper conversational solution, conversational commerce solution, we support so many social channels. In the roadmap, what we have immediately, it's because of that's the demand we've been receiving from customers, is Facebook Messenger. It's a couple of other social channels. But again, WeChat is very specific to China and to that area. If that's something that we had customers that would really need, for sure we'd do it. But again, it depends on demand. Any other questions? Yes.
I don't think I heard you mention texting. Is that also,
Yeah, texting is SMS, yes.
so SMS? And
SMS is
And I
supported.
see SMS Magic's name around here as well.
Yes.
Is that required to engage with them, or is this?
No, so there is a difference. SMS Magic it's a very good solution. It's a complete solution. It's really useful for things like sales-oriented text campaigns because they have all of these scheduling abilities to be able to define, list of destinations and send those things. This would be complementary. So when you just need one-on-one contact, people that are coming to your contact center, then you can do it to bring your own channel and use our SMS API built into that capability. But if you need more complex, like you want to actually do outbound campaigns and launch emails that may then turn into like maybe a callback to your contact center or something like that, you would be using SMS Magic. So we partner on those things because they have things that we don't provide and we have things that they don't provide, which is that tight integration into Salesforce.
Okay, and another question is it your customer success group that would help sort of assess our situation? And why I'm asking is that we don't have thousands of agents, right? So then the question of all the efficiencies and the distribution of things, in some of my groups, there are only 3 or 4 agents in that group. So, I mean, your example had 4 agents, but at what point do we become too small to really this wouldn't be worth the trouble?
Well,
So,
I cannot tell you exactly if we have a threshold. I know that we are specialized in the mid-market and SMB space. So I think the best option is to talk to one of our salespeople. They will look at your model. They will look at your needs. And we definitely have a CSM team. We definitely have a professional services team. One of our strengths, and that's actually why our scores are so good, is because we just don't give you a bunch of technology and say, go figure it out. We actually sit down with you, figure out your journey, and help you along the way. Yesterday, I presented a fireside chat with one of our customers, Anderson Hauser. Of course, it's not exactly your model because they are the largest international Service Cloud voice contact center deployment. We got an award for that from Salesforce. But the key aspect that they mentioned is that they couldn't have done that without the people. She named people in our organization by name and last name, because they were instrumental into making that deployment a success. And they also work with a system integrator partner that was also part of the equation. But that's the key point is technology is 20% of the equation, not just for your agents and the operation of the contact center, but for the implementation and the kind of setting up and running that contact center. We have the teams that help you along that journey to make sure that when we give you the keys to the car, you can drive with it. Yes. Any other questions? I'm surprised, Tommy, you don't have one. Because either you got this, or I made such a bad job that it all just flew over your head and you didn't get anything. Because you normally have questions. All right. Well, you know where to find me if you have any, so I'm not going anywhere. All right. Well, if nobody else has any... Oh, there is another one here. Great.
Why not? Since you asked. We use Salesforce's SMS to digital channel. We can't use our same phone numbers, that we're buying through Vonage. So
Yeah.
we can't text and call from the same number. If we use Vonage SMS channel, would that be different?
No, we would port the numbers to us.
Yeah,
Whichever
we
number.
do have the ability to share voice and text. We'd have to look at your numbers.
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Depends on the carrier, yeah.
But ideally, we would just do a portability and
Yeah, we have lots of customers that share voice and text on the same phone number.
yeah. Perfect.
All right.
That's chance. Another question? No? Going once? Going twice? Gone. Thank you very much for your time today. It's been a pleasure sharing our stage together, Nicole.
Yes,
You're always
yes.
fantastic. And we'll see you around. If you have any questions, if you want to see a demo, by all means, make use, because there's nobody queuing. It's the perfect time. This is not Disneyland. You don't have to get a fast pass. We're ready for you, okay? Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.
Thanks, everyone.